Our hypothesis is that a greater percentage of smokers in England smoke over 20 cigarettes a day compared to less than 20 a day.
In England, 50% of people have never smoked, 28% of people are ex-smokers and 22% currently smoke.
Out of these 22% of people who currently smoke, 32% of these people smoke over 20 cigarettes a day and 68% smoke less than 20 a day.
If we put this data into a histogram, we can see a greater percentage of people smoke less than 20 cigarettes a day.
The same pattern follows with Wales.
And with Scotland, we have disproved our hypothesis.
Our data has disproved our hypothesis, as we can see that there is a larger percentage of people who smoke less than 20 cigarettes a day than those who smoke more. With a rough ratio of 7 to 3 in all countries between those who smoke less and those who smoke more, we can see there is a larger difference which does not follow our hypothesis.
As we just found out that 22% of the population smoke, we decided to investigate whether there is a relationship between the amount of smokers and the country's average life expectancy. This led us on to our second hypothesis.
Our second hypothesis is that more smokers in a country, the lower the life expectancy.
If we look at the percentage of smokers in a country, we can see that Scotland has a higher percentage of 24, whereas Wales has a lower percentage of 21, and England has 22% of the population smoking.
If we add in the average life expectancy of the people in these countries, we can see that England has a much higher life expectancy of 79, compared to Scotland, which only has 76, and Wales lies in the middle with 78.
If we look at England, this follows our hypothesis, as there is a lower percentage of smokers and a higher average life expectancy.
Scotland also follows our hypothesis, as there is a high amount of smokers and a lower average of life expectancy.
Wales follows a similar pattern as England, as there is a low percentage of smokers in the country and a high average life expectancy.
We proved our hypothesis.
The results proved our hypothesis, as countries with a low life expectancy, like England and Wales, have a higher rate of smokers, and Scotland, a country with a low life expectancy, has the highest percentage of smokers. As Wales has the lowest percentage of smokers, we would expect to see it with the highest life expectancy instead of England. However, it still follows the pattern, so there is no anomaly. Since the range between the percentage of smokers was only 3% between the countries, we can see that in all, the UK has a consistent amount of smokers, and this one is also relevant for life expectancy, as the range between them was only 3 years. We then decided to think less about smokers in a country and more about the alcohol consumption. So we decided to compare males and females' alcohol intake, as can be seen by our third hypothesis.
Our hypothesis is that there is a higher rate of alcohol consumption in England amongst men than there is in women.
The data we have gathered shows that 69% of men drank last week, 19% on 5 or more days in the week, and 37% drink more than 4 units of alcohol a day. In women, 55% drank last week, 11% drank on 5 or more days in the week, and 29% drink more than 4 units a day.
If we put this into a histogram, we can see that on average males drink more than females. We have proved our hypothesis.
We have proved our hypothesis. The percentage of males that drank last week in England is higher than females by 14%. As an average, mean, there is a 10% difference between alcohol consumption in males and females. However, we cannot be certain that all the data is reliable. We don't know either the number of people this data was retrieved from, or where this data was collected. If the people questioned were in a pub or an AA meeting, then the data we gathered would not be accurate representation of the whole of England. We have investigated life expectancy previously, so we then decided to think about our local area and life expectancies of males and females here. Our fourth hypothesis is that men have a higher life expectancy than women in West Sussex. First, we put our data into this cumulative frequency chart. From this, we could then make a cumulative frequency diagram. We then added in the box plots. We could then compare the two box plots. We can see that men have a wide variability in life expectancy, whereas females have consistent results. We can clearly see that women have a higher life expectancy than men. We have disproved our hypothesis. We have disproved our hypothesis because the median life expectancy of men is lower than women's by 3.5 years. This means that on average, women have a higher life expectancy. Also, the interquartile range is greater amongst men than in women, as the male range is 1.75 years and amongst women it is only 0.75 years. This shows that women's life expectancy is more consistent in women and that men have a wider variability. All of this data is backed up by the two box plots. Men's is wide with a low median of 80, whereas women's is small yet much higher than men's with a median of 83.5. As we have now finished our project, we looked at what we've discovered. 1. Most smokers in England smoke less than 20 a day. 2. A country with a high percentage of smokers has a lower average life expectancy. 3. Men drink more than women in England. 4. Women have a higher life expectancy than men in West Sussex. Of course, we cannot be certain that all the data is unbiased, as there is no source to suggest how many people were questioned to receive the data or the location where the data was retrieved. 100 people would not be an accurate representation of the whole of England, especially if the people asked about alcohol intake were found in a pub. This concludes our statistics project.